And so it is. Loved ones, dear ones, that we welcome you in this wonderful energy of home, this energy that you are creating right now, creating by your very thoughts, aren't you? That's the first question we would love to ask to you tonight. Are you creating this world around you by the energy of your thoughts, or by the energy that is your heart? How do you do this? Have you ever wondered about this principle of creation? Have you ever considered the fact that when you emit a thought that is based on an action of the heart, that everything around you, every aspect, every atom is changed forever? Let this be our opening statement tonight. We wish to welcome each and every one of you. We wish to greet you in this new energy. This new energy that cannot be defined. It cannot be placed in a category that you have submitted previously in what you call your brain. You see, loved ones, when you look at the world, you constantly are looking for something you recognize, something that you can place within a time frame and within a space frame, so to speak. And yet we ask you, are you sure that what you have created right now, that this exists within the boundaries of time and space? For we are not so sure about this. We are the energy of 12. Some have called us the 12 cosmic masters. But we do not seek this name. We do not want to be called masters. For if we were to carry this name and take it for our own, we would indeed place ourselves above you, would we not? So we will be your guides. We will be your gardeners. We will be the umbilical cord that exists between that which you call a central sun, and that which you call your very essence, your very heart. We have been asked in the last few weeks if it would be possible to repeat everything that we have been giving you, based on the information that you have been taught, based on the information that you have sought out yourselves, and based on, well, the power that is called evolution, is it not? And so we will, today, take you back to the beginning of the year 2007. We'll take you back to a time where you had just left everything else behind. You had been living lives that actually were based on the illusions and the lies that you have taught yourselves to be true. And yet again, we implore you to thank yourselves for letting go. Letting go of the illusions, letting go of the limitations, letting go of the lies that you have lived for so very long. For you see, Imzaia, if you look at this world around you, if you see this universe that seems to be taking place around you all the time, we ask you now, could it be that you are the only thing that really matters in this universe? Could it be that you are the only one you actually have to take into account when you create, when you go about your day, when you interact with others, when you interact with the world itself? Or is this a thought that is based on ego? Is this a thought that is based on what you would call selfishness? Oh yes, many of you today are selfish. Especially when others look at you. When others see the selfishness that is you, they believe that you have chosen to leave everything else behind. That you have chosen to leave the world as you know it behind, and that you place yourselves first. And again, we implore you to think about this. What is wrong with this analogy? What is wrong with this idea that you have the ability to put yourselves first? Good. Good. Now that several of you are lost in your brain, we can actually start the communication that we intended to do with you today, that we intended to take place today. Because we are here for a very special reason. We are here to remind you, each and every one of you, all around this planet, that you are God. We are here to remind you that there is no world around you. There is only a world that lives within the confines of your own body. And we are here to remind you that you are the creator of your own life. Now, you have known all these facts for quite some time. I mean, there are tons and tons of channelings all around the world. There's tons and tons of information telling you about these facts, telling you that you are in fact the creator of your own life, that nothing else exists except for you. And from time to time you actually wake up in the morning and you have a creative thought, which manifests itself later that day, best case scenario. And yet, every single day, each and every one of you returns to the golden cage that is reality. Why do you put yourselves through this? Why do you try to look at your life as something of which you have no control? Why do you try to look at yourself in the smallest way possible? We have seen you do this over and over and over. And this is where we would like to begin our teaching today. For what is consciousness really? Is consciousness something that is just a garbage can, a trash can of thought? Or is consciousness something that is the creation of all things, equally seen in the light of unity? Did you have trouble actually comprehending the last sentence? How could that be? Could it be that maybe right now, as you listen to this discussion taking place in this body that you live in right now, that you're getting a little bit too close to the truth? For if you do, you will notice that there are several aspects that will happen with you. First of all, you will reject these words. Second of all, you will reject yourselves. Third, you will reject the world. This is what happens when you enter states of depression, when you enter states of fear. Fear-based thinking, for instance, will always put the world on top of you. Will always let you carry the weight. Now, if you really believe in the power of consciousness, if you really believe in the power of truth and unity, then we are here to tell you something. Before we get into everything else, we need to tell you a little bit about the reality of things. You see, you live in a world where you think you are constantly being attacked by matter. Matter that manifests itself in the reality around you, And yet matter that seems to exist separate from you. Look around this room, the very room you sit in right now. You see a floor, and you can walk on this floor. You see walls, and you can touch these walls. You see chairs, and you can sit in the chairs. Can you also see your heart? Can you also see your mind? Can you see your consciousness? You can't touch your consciousness. And again, the very light bulbs that are emitting light here right now, can you touch this light? And yet, it is there. And most of you have never even considered the fact that you don't know how electricity works. And yet you are willing to use it. So today we wish to invite you to just use your consciousness, even though you have no idea how it actually works. If you had an idea of how consciousness actually transmits itself and replicates itself, you would see that there is nothing else around you. That you are just living in a holographic field of thought. And that these things manifest themselves around you when you are using your senses. An interesting fact that we have always seen taking place on this planet Earth when you are trying to reach enlightenment is that you are trying to leave your bodies. You're not taking care of your body. You're not thinking about the things you are eating, the things you are putting inside of your body. You are not thinking about the reality that are your senses. So, if all these things are true, then what are your senses, Imzaia? Are your senses, your eyes and your ears and your hands and your nose and your mouth, are these just passive instruments with which you can actually experience a very small part of reality? Or could it be that your senses are active? Could it be that by the act of looking, you are creating? Could it be that by the act of hearing, you are creating? Could it be that when you taste an apple, that you are creating this apple by the very process of tasting it itself? If so, then that would mean that you are not linear. Because if you are creating the apple at the moment you are tasting it, then what happened with the apple when it was hanging on the tree, when it was growing, when you found it in a store somewhere, a convenience store? Could it be that the very act of tasting the apple itself creates a timeline, past, present, and future, where you have an impact on what is happening right there? Oh, the world is glorious, and you are the world. Therefore, you are glorious. Your senses are magnificent. Actually, your eyes and your hands, and your mouth and your ears and your nose and everything else is nothing more but a magic wand with which you create reality. And so, here you sit in the year 2007, waiting to explode into a new existence. We know of the ordeals, the trials and the tribulations you have gone through in 2006 and the years before that. We know there's so much you had to let go, so much you actually had to say goodbye to. Some of you had to say goodbye to friends and family and loved ones, workplaces, husbands and wives and children. All of them. Even those you said goodbye to on a permanent basis because they are no longer part of this reality you call Earth. All of them are here right now, speaking. You see, when you let go of separation, you actually enter a state of unity. And in this unity there is no time and space. There is no separation. There is only the whole that exists. And we would like to change your perspective on this one, Imzaia. Because when you think about the concept of the whole, you think you will be added to something that is already there, something of which you are now again a part. You think that you are a drop in the ocean that has just been taken away for a while and that is now being returned. But what if you are actually the ocean? What if that when you look at your life, you are the whole itself? Could this be the case? Could it be that you are your father and your mother, that you gave birth to yourself? Could it be that you are all these things around you? Well, we speak from experience, for we are you. And when we say we are you, we don't mean you, or you, or you, or you. We just mean you. For there is only one of you. All the rest of the people sitting here in the room, listening to this right now, looking at this right now, are they real? Then again, are we, the 12, and I, this vessel that now speaks, am I real? Isn't this something you are making up right now? Isn't this something that you have just created in your life for you to find the truth? We are happy to play this role for you. We are happy to just sit here and pretend to be real. Oh, you can prick us and we will bleed. You can bite us and we will scream. You can hit us and we will run. But know that you have created us in your reality right now. You have created the room you're in, the possible screen you're looking at. This is your creation. Are you happy with what you created? Well, if you're not, change my body. Change my eyes. Change the color of my hair, why don't you? Give me 4 fingers instead of 5. Come on. I dare you. Can you do that? Can you? Oops. I guess you must still be limiting yourself. You must still be thinking of yourself as something that is separate. And this is where it all began, Imzaia. The very first thought you ever had, and you ever have, whenever you are born, is that you are a separate entity. Stop fooling yourselves. Stop fucking with your minds. Stop creating an illusion. For what is the point? What is the purpose? What is the purpose of all this suffering? What is the purpose of all this fear? What is the purpose of all this hate and this pain and this angst and anxiety? We know what the purpose is. It's to keep you separated. It's to keep you in the illusion of separateness. There was a time, long, long ago, or not. Maybe it's happening right now. But let's just say for the time being, it's been a long time ago, when you had your very first thought. You were whole. You were one. You were everything that is. You still are, actually. But you think you're not, so let's just go with this train of thought here for a second. And when you were experiencing this wholeness, you actually had an extra thought. What if we can separate ourselves from this unity? What if we can separate ourselves from ourselves? Well, you had been creating for a couple of billion of years. So, this is actually a thought you had out of boredom. And you understand this? That you were bored with yourselves, so you tried to separate you from you. And when you did, that's when this whole thing began. This which you call the universe. This place of energy and matter being created by consciousness. And in this thought, you created a world of guilt, a world of pain, and a world of fear. Think about this, Imzaia. We're not trying to get you down, but think about this. Even in joy, there is fear, for the joy might go away. Even in love, there is pain. The pain you're trying to let go of, but are still thinking about because the one you are loving might go away. Even in all of these things you call happiness, there is always fear of it going away, ending. And what is this fear other than the creation of a linear timeline? I'm sitting here right now, in the now. There is no fear. What would I fear? This room that I'm creating? These people I'm creating? You? You? Or maybe the thought that you might go away. But if you are here right now, you can't go away, can you? So in my world, in my reality, you still will continue to exist, even if you choose another reality. Okay, so here come the questions. Have you been thinking about this for a long time, Imzaia? Have you been trying to get to a point where you can actually experience being everything that you are? Or is there a world around you that is trying to keep you away from you? Is there a world around you that is thinking of you as a crazy person? Is there a world around you that is thinking of you as just another lunatic? Then the question becomes, if all of you is everything that is, and if you are creating everything around you, why do you think of yourself as a lunatic? Why do you think of yourself as someone who would hurt animals? Why do you think of someone that is you, that is living in a continent where there is not enough food for everyone? How do you think of yourselves? Someone who died in hunger, who died in war. Why do you think of yourselves as a president who would rather send thousands and thousands of his own people into battle instead of facing up to the fact that he has lost all control of his own country, and that this is in the power and in the hands of other people? Why do you think of yourselves as this? Because you are your worst enemy. You are all of these things that you have always hated about the world. So now, with all this being said, I can come in and shake your hand. You see, I was specifically created to wake you up out of your coma. I was specifically created by your consciousness so that you could see who you really are. And the world is changing. For you are changing. And you are the world. Let's begin again. For you didn't listen to what I just said. You didn't listen to these words. Look around you. Are you still noticing a room? Are you still noticing other people maybe? Objects? Are you still thinking of these things as separate from yourself? Then you didn't listen. I advise you to begin again. I advise you to hear these words in yourself every single second until you realize that indeed there is no world. This is a process we call reunification. You have called it forgiveness in the past. We don't like the word forgiveness. What is there to forgive? Only yourself. Reunification is a process where you allow yourself to see the world as a part of you, and every single action, every single event, person, place, or experience is there to show you that you have let go of your own power. So I have come in again, have I not? I will give no name today. It is not necessary to give you a name. My name is your name. And in a moment you will find out you don't even have a name. So I don't think I need to give you a name today. Do I? Okay. I have come into your reality to talk to you about your own essence, about your own core. My only goal is to love you, for I am you, and you are me. My only goal is to adore you, and to sit by your feet as you come to the realization that you are. That's all you need to do. Just realize that you are. Now, I need to tell you something about your brain. when you think a thought such as I am, automatically you have a process going on inside of you where space is reserved for the opposite of I am. I am not. Can you comprehend this? This is a dual concept. Duality. I am or I am not. But this duality, it doesn't exist. It is just a creation, a figment of your imagination. I am is all you ever have to think. I am. What will happen if you do this? Time will speed up. And that's what happened to a lot of people around this world. This world that is you, by the way. At the beginning of this year, 2007. You shifted. You quickened. Because of the process of reunification, time is actually coming to a standstill. And in order to stand still, time needs to speed up. Because you think that finding a space where nothing actually moves, where nothing actually is, will only occur when you actually slow down. It won't. It won't. From our point of view, slowing down is actually going more into a state of matter, more into a state of illusion. You will see that when you slow down, you are actually segmenting that which is infinite, taking it into one point, one singular point alone. And this is not the way. You have been trying this for many, many years. You have been trying to slow yourselves down by so many different techniques. You have tried meditation. You have tried yoga, maybe. You have tried a multiple spectrum. Have you slowed down? Or have you only experienced more stress? Because you're trying to run to the places where you can actually slow down. It doesn't work that way. Finding you, finding yourselves, is daring to speed up, is daring to experience this world as one. This is your greatest illusion, that you need time to see all the world around you. You don't. The faster you go, the more you will experience at once. At a certain point you will see that time and speed are also a very limited concept. You think you can speed up to a point that you cannot even comprehend. You call this the speed of light. And many great ones on this planet like Einstein, Tesla, so many others, they have talked about this concept. Speed of light. You think it takes several minutes even from the light of your sun to reach this planet Earth. It travels at light speed. On a cosmic level, however, that which you call light speed is the most slow speed possible. You understand this? Do you understand, Imzaia, when you think of curves that occur when you're trying to put speed in a physics point of view, that you are just at the beginning of a very big ladder. And that once you cross the threshold of light speed, so to speak, that you actually enter a point which we would call the speed of consciousness, or the speed of energy. What you will see here is absolutely no movement at all. Not speed zero. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about speed of energy. Now, when I take one of these particles here in the air around me, it doesn't just exist here in my hand. You can open your hand, it will exist there too. Energy is everywhere at once. Your science has taught you that your body is made up of energy. And where are you? Aren't you everything at once? Aren't you, again, your room, your house, your apartment building, your car, your city, your country, your planet, your universe? So let's look at this from a different perspective, shall we? This year, 2007, is what we call the year of quickening. Quickening is a process whereby you, as a creator, are actually speeding up time. This is because the original timeline of planet Earth was only intended to run up until a point in time and space which you are getting very close to right now. 22nd of December 2012, the end of the year 2012. So what we are doing is what you have been doing all along. When you die, we are taking you out of time and space. We are letting you experience all the energy up from 2007 until the end of 2012 in 1 year. One of these time warps, so to speak, has already taken place. And even if you haven't been aware of this, you have taken a part in it. It's happened to everyone. Because you are everyone. First time it happened was the beginning of this year. Was it not? In the very small amount of time of a couple of seconds, you were actually given the entire energy of 2007. And then, beginning of February 2007, some of you were already existing in what you would call 2008. Don't try to wrap your brain around it, it won't work. Second point of the time warp you will still experience is the year September. Not the month, but the year. Because in September, loved ones, so much energy will be available. The year 2008, the year 2009 will find a way into your system. As you work with these new energies that are coming in, just remember to breathe. Just remember to think straight. And then, at the end of this year 2007, month of December, you will experience an even greater shift. Last 3 years, up until 2012, will be made available to you. Knowing this, we ask you, what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to sit there eat potato chips, watch television. All these things were created so that you could have a level of comfort in your lives. Is it comfort really? It isn't. What does it matter to you? Television, media, news reports, fiction. It's all very interesting. It's not the reason why you were born. Not at all. It's a reason that is intended to keep you away from the reason for which you were born. Imagine a conversation that you and I are having once your life is over. You think you're going to be interested in the end of a show like Baywatch? Or will we talk about the lives you touched? Will we have a conversation about the very last episode of The Bold and the Beautiful? Or will we have a talk, you and I, about the person whose hand you held as they were crossing over? A person maybe you will never even know. Will we have a discussion about how many classy stars a certain restaurant has, and if you manage to get into the jet set of society? Or will we talk about your influence on this planet? And that's even thinking on a very slow and very small level. Because we have told you at the beginning of this exchange between you and I that there is no world, there is no time, there is no space. So, we're now coming to a point where we can actually cut the crap. We have been talking mumblings and ramblings in the last few minutes, haven't we? We have been throwing so much stuff at you, not in a very linear way. And no, we haven't done this because we are not well structured. We don't believe in structure. I don't believe in structure. The only reason I have thrown all these concepts your way is so that your mind and your brain will get tired. Maybe, best case scenario, will actually shut off. Now, if your brain is asleep, at least a big part of it, I can actually talk to you. I am consciousness. I am the world. And I am very well aware of that. So should you. And if you think I'm crazy, well, I'm your creation, baby. So, Imzaia, we have now come to a point where we can actually exchange what we needed to exchange. And this is energy, consciousness, and love. 3 concepts, 3 words with which I can describe you. Energy, consciousness, and love. That's all you are. You aren't your problems. You are not the things you would like to lose in your lives. Well, you are them, but you don't have to be them. So now, as we exist just for a couple of minutes here, just for a couple of glances, as we exist beyond time and space with you right now, we ask you, why are you here? Who are you? Why do you do the things you do? What is your purpose? Is your purpose to walk around on this planet for, let's say, 80 years, give or take a couple of years, to just make some money, make some children maybe, make some love, and destroy some love? Is that your purpose? We still haven't gotten through to you. We need to go deeper. Do you wish to know the truth? Okay. I'll give you the truth. All of you. You don't even exist. Your consciousness doesn't even exist. Your energy doesn't even appear real to me. I don't even exist. All we are is nothing. A potential sea of everything. If you can see this, if you can let go this far, then you will become the magician of your own life. For you see, a lot of you, I'm talking about you in the first person and in the plural, a lot of you, when you heard me speak before, was thinking about the fact that I might be crazy. A lot of you were thinking that if I think I am the world, I must have a huge ego. But I just told you that I am nothing. Nothing. Would someone with an ego say these words to you? How about your ego? Can you be nothing? Can you accept that you don't matter at all? And at the same time, you're only thing that matters? Can you? Okay. Let's take this down another level. We are now beyond the field of nothing. Because nothing is still a definable concept, is it not? Nothing is still the implication of something. What exists beyond the nothing? There's no more words. There's no more thoughts. There's no more bodies. There's no more worlds. There's no more stars. There just is a non-dual experience. The place beyond nothing is a point which you have called the Big Bang, which has been totally misunderstood. You think that this Big Bang is actually the consequence of a series of events that led a very, very compressed particle of everything explode into nothingness. That's not what happened. So, this point we're talking about, where could this exist? Where do you exist if you are nothing? Are you starting to grasp what I and all the others here are talking about? Are you starting to see this for what it actually is? I know it's a very uncomfortable level to be at. I know it's very annoying to be at this level of thought, what you would call philosophy. But to me and all my friends, philosophy this is not. Truth this is. And that's where you are beyond nothing. Even though it cannot be defined, I can only describe it as a place of truth. You have always looked at truth, Imzaia, as something which is a very small part of a much bigger whole. You see, you go into searching for the truth, and you have all these facts available, and you think only one of them is truth. That's not true. And even that is true. But all of them is the one truth. And all of that exists beyond nothing. And I must admit, this is a very limited description of what I'm trying to tell you, because, as you can see, this place beyond nothing, which we will now call, for lack of a better term, the Akonai, is not a real place. It is a place of truth. And to take you through this place, well, I must become, as always, the teacher. Teacher that lives inside of you. I've always been this teacher. I've always been this aspect of you as trying to get a different handle on the world that exists beyond this place of nothing, that which we will now call the Akonai. If you so seek, you can find the truth within yourself. I cannot give it to you. I have lived many truths. I have lived your truth. I'm living your truth right now because I am your creation. The only reason I'm saying all of these things is to get you away from a concept which will kill you in the end. It's a concept called definition. The moment you start defining yourself you destroy yourself. Because you take all of these truths, all of this energy, all of this consciousness, you place it all around you, and you look at a very, very tiny spot, and you claim that this spot is you. This way, you cannot ever find yourself. It's not possible. It's not done. Oh, you might go to all the lectures, and you might read all the books, and you might get all the concepts in your head, and you will think about this. In the end, you will just die. Stuck in a system of reincarnation, and you will once again find yourself in a body, a very small body indeed. And in this body you will start to experience, and this body will grow up. As it does, you will just get hurt. I no longer want you to get hurt. I am the clown inside of you. In a couple of minutes, I will tell you why I don't want you to get hurt. But right now, I'm inviting you. You understand? What am I inviting you to? Nothing. This is the principle of Zen. Turned around on its head. It's the principle of life turned around on its head. It's the principle of existence itself. We will return shortly for more of this nonsense. For that is what everything is. Non-sense. If you dare to look at life this way, you might even survive. We will return in a couple of minutes, and we thank you for creating us. And so it is. I am. Yes, I am. You. Hello again. Still here? Are you out of your mind yet? Are you still trapped in the confines of your own reality? Are you still trapped in the illusions that you have built in the course of your life? The illusions that you have so carefully created so that you could believe that you are not everything that is. So that you could believe right now that you are listening to a person, maybe on the other side of the world, living in a male body, a 30-year-old body, brown hair, and yet his body is your body. His blood is your blood. And these words are your words. Before the break, you and I talked about the Akonai, the field that exists beyond nothing. We will now call this the nonsense field. For this word, nonsense, implies a non-dualistic approach to reality. Reality which is you. So many people over the course of the years have probably told you that you are talking nonsense. So many years have gone by where you have hidden away, where you have put your essence, your core beliefs, your magic, your abilities to fly and to create time and space, you have put these in a box. And you have given this box away to a concept you call God, which then translates into your reality as religion, priests, shamans, channels, activities, churches, so many different things you have to express the concept of God in your reality. And indeed, you have given your power away to this concept. You have tried to make yourself as small as possible. And why? So that you don't have to take responsibility of your life, of your creation, of your essence. I am here today, again, as your creation, to put the responsibility back where it belongs. In your heart, in your brain, in your consciousness, and in your creative ability. So many words have been spoken in the last few years. So many personalities were created, personalities that are just conscious energy. And you have called these personalities so many different things. You have called these Cryon, Ramtha, the group, the 12. So many different names you have given. And you have been very clever, because even in this spiritual world, you have created segmentation and separation. And so your mind is a clever tool indeed. It has taught you about a world where you don't feel you belong in. And so you create this other world, this esoteric world, where you can meet up with people of likewise mind. And again, you do the same thing. You create entities that are separate from you. You call these angels, and you give these angels names. And why? so you can do the same thing all over again. And even in this esoteric world, new worlds are about to be born. New worlds with new entities to channel, new things to discover, and new information to come pouring in. And what does this information do, Imzaia? It just takes you even further away from your very essence and your very core. And I, as your creation, can no longer stand for this. I, as your creation, will no longer carry the responsibility of creating other entities that hold more truth than you do. I will no longer accept your box of dreams, your box of hopes, your box of power. I will no longer accept this, so that you can come to people like me and so many other people around the world and attend a church meeting, for that is what it is. A long time ago, in this consciousness at least, I and others have spoken about a concept. I called it the third wave. Now, what is this third wave? I just want to go into this for a couple of minutes because it's really not very important. Think back to a time of flower power. Think back of a time where maybe even you attended Woodstock. Think back of a time when your hair was long, you wore flowers in your hair on your way to San Francisco. You had two concepts that were so very important to you: peace and love. This, in the microcosm that is your life, is what you would call the first wave. It created a totally different set of energies where people actually started believing that loving one another would be more beneficial to themselves than hating one another and killing one another and making war upon one another. First wave. Then your mind exploded once again, and this is always the way it works. Every action has a counteraction, a reaction. So the reaction to all of this was the creation of business, was it not? Things started speeding up. Money became ever so important. And being in the business life, being no longer a hippie, but a businessman or a businesswoman, was the next best thing, wasn't it? These were the 80s, where the economy bloomed and blossomed. And then, course of the 90s, a total new wave came in, a second wave. It wasn't a wave of love and freedom. It was a wave of light. This is when the concept that you call the light worker was actually born. And you very much were in need of this light, because you had forgotten your own essence. You had forgotten how to radiate. There was a point in the 90s where everybody, almost everybody on this planet, existed merely for the benefaction of another company. Companies became more important than people, more important as governments Companies, and the word itself is very slick, isn't it? It implies the concept of company. And none of you ever want to be alone. So you gave your power away for the umpteenth time. The company you worked for. In Asia, even. People actually died a couple of days after they retired because they had given all their energy, everything they were, to a company. And so the second wave came in, the wave of light. Trying to put the power back in your hands. So the second wave wasn't just a wave of light. It was a wave of life, a wave of empowerment. And you reclaimed your own power. And then, 2006, loved ones, where everything that you had reclaimed needed to be let go. So many things happened for so many of you. And I explained this before. You lost family, you lost friends, you lost careers, you lost orientation. And you thought you were lost. And you were lost. And it was glorious to see you finally being lost. Because when you let go, you actually started to become part of a bigger truth. Actually, you started to become part of you again. And the third wave came in. A wave of harmony and balance, power and joy. Now think of these words. Harmony, balance, power and joy. All things that are created within, not without. And if you go search for these things without, well, then you basically give your harmony away. You give your balance away. You give your power away. You give everything away. So now we have come to a point where I need to be straight with you. This third wave, it's not just about power and harmony and balance and joy. It's about nonsense. And the field of nonsense exists beyond nothingness, as we have just talked about. What is nonsense exactly? Non implies a negation. Sense is not just about something making sense in your life, it's also about the senses. The senses which you have always used to experience the world. Now the nonsense is actually the opposite. Now you use your senses to create the world. Why do you have senses in your body? It's simple, really. No idea? I do. You use these things to create your world. Do you even think that the camera I am looking into right now, in this very moment of space and time, would exist if my eyes in my universe weren't upon it? It wouldn't exist. My senses are creating this camera right now, as much as my senses create my body every day. Think about it. Are you aware of your body when you are not using your senses? When you sleep, for instance? Could it be that your entire world doesn't exist when you sleep? Your consciousness shifts at that point, and you enter the field of non-sense, where all potential, all energy, all possibilities, and all matter are focused upon one point: you. When you sleep, dear one, the world doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist when you are awake. But then again, we have already discussed that topic. So the field of nonsense is something you're going to have to learn how to navigate, for it actually creates your reality. It's beyond the quantic field. It's beyond the quantum field. It's beyond the tachyon field. Because every concept you know to exist is just nonsense. And part of this nonsense. When you become the unobservant observer, when you become master of your field of nonsense, you can create whatever you seek to create, keeping in mind that all you create is just temporary. So here we now give you an option. So many have come to me and to others like me that live in this truth as my own teacher, and have asked how they can learn miracles, how they can learn, let's go back to the old days, how to walk on water, where they can learn how to create food where none is available, turn water into wine, or maybe even more modern day miracles, how to create money, how to create wealth and lust and power and all these things. Tell me, if this is what you seek, aren't you just adding to your own illusions? Of course you can walk on water. Of course you can create money. But to what end? It would just keep this whole charade, that is life, going. Now, I am not saying that after this transmission you maybe should just kill yourself because nothing makes sense anymore, or everything around you doesn't even exist. It doesn't work that way. If you kill yourself, then you would just reincarnate in another body, and this whole thing would start over. And maybe at one point in your life you would again be touched by this type of information, and maybe this time you will choose not to kill yourself, but maybe to become very, very rich. And what does it give you? Just temporary happiness. I am talking about the sort of happiness that comes from the fact that you are the creator. You are the creator, making known the unknown. If you want to create miracles in your life, if you do, create miracles that make known the unknown. It will not just help you, it will help everyone around you which is you. Are we talking nonsense yet? Imzaia, are you ready to accept your own nonsense? Nonsense is something which goes beyond potential, which goes beyond energy, which goes beyond consciousness itself. For you see, you think consciousness is the only thing that matters, and in the last few months and the last few years you have been making this move from mind to consciousness. Haven't you ever wondered if this is just another step in the road? Just another concept to wrap your brain around for a couple of years maybe, and then the next one will come up, the next guy or girl who will find the next level of consciousness. There's no point. Even consciousness is just a possibility within the field of nonsense, the non-sensic field. You know that even the quantum theory, that your science is so hot about these days, this is just a part of the non-sensic field as well. And even this concept of the non-sensic field is non-sensic in nature. You know why? Because it exists just like you. It is its own creator. And this is where we have to draw the line. There's never going to be another concept to surpass this. If this is true, and we have very little time before we have to end our talk, you and I, today, if this is true, that this would be the last frontier, the final frontier of all this theory, then what lies behind this? The end of the universe. I'm not talking about the border. I'm not talking about the frontier. I'm talking about the end of linearity, the end of time and space, but not the end of life. Not the end of energy, not the end of consciousness. All these things will continue to exist. Only time has come to limit energy and consciousness by putting them into matter. You have gotten to a point where you are now accepting responsibility for your own creation. The only problem is you have been looking at your creation from a very narrow perspective. Once you realize all these things that were said here today, we will come back, you and I, and talk some more. And maybe then you will understand that this non-sensic field is just creation, with no beginning and no end. I and so many others want to set you free, want to take you away from this never-ending story. And that's what it is. It is never-ending, and it is just a story. To begin to explain what life and consciousness and existence within this non-sensic field would be, is meaningless at this point. This is where you are invited to jump into the unknown so you can make it known. That is your job, Creator. That is your goal, Imzaia. The biggest challenge you will ever be faced with is making known the unknown illusion that is this universe. What lies behind is gone. What lies beyond doesn't even exist yet. What is here right now is all you need to jump and to let go. And before we go, before I invite you one final time to make this jump with us, all of these people that are you, I want to ask you one more thing. A couple of minutes, this talk, this exchange, this reality that we share, it will be over. You will turn off your PC or whatever it is you need to turn off. And you will maybe go out of your room. And you will go down the stairs if you have stairs, and you will take some time to be with your family or your friends or your loved ones. Or maybe you will just be alone. Experience some time with your animals or with a good book or with a television program. I implore you then to keep these words in mind and in your heart. Because it would be so easy, Imzaia, to just think of this as an hour or a little bit of time where you were entertained with new concepts and new philosophies. But this is not a philosophy. This is a truth. An existential truth. Philosophy is interesting. With a nice glass of wine after dinner, and you think about things, and you agree or disagree about things, and you just go on with your lives. But I'm telling you, there is no life. The life you're leading right now is just part of this sea of non-sensicality. Jump. Make known the unknown. And be that which you are. These are the 3 points of consciousness and of creation. Just jump. Make known the unknown. And be that which you are. I wish you happy experiences in the coming days. As I invite you to take these words and turn them into your reality. Find ways of making this exist in your life. I can guarantee you, right now, in the coming hours, you will be shown proof of what I have said here right now, of what you have told yourself right now, is actually real. All you need to do is look and play with yourself. And so in the creation language of what you have once called the days of Lemuria, I would like to offer you one final metaphor, one final thought. to conclude all thoughts. Ea I. Oya I. Ea I. As it is. Oya I. So it shall be. And so it is, dear ones, that reality is once again calling with its technology and all of its illusion to call you away. The question now becomes, are you going to go and pick up your phones and turn on your television sets and continue to live the dream that you call reality? Or aren't you going to be dissuaded by technology once again? I thought as much. Enjoy making known the unknown. Ea I, Oya I, and so it is. I am, yes, I am you, and you are dearly, dearly loved. Welcome, everyone. Welcome in this space we are creating here right now. It is a space that I will not define in terms which you have heard before. It is not a space which will I try to express myself upon. This is not my intention. The space that is being created here right now, it's your space. It's not mine. I am just a figment of your imagination. Something you create in your consciousness, in your reality. A creation that will allow you to experience truth. So here I am. And I am the 12. I am the White Guild. I am Satya. I am all that is. And so are you. You are the 12 also. These are your words, your space, not mine. Again, I am just your imagination coming to life. And isn't everything around you, Imzaia, a part of your imagination? So, how about you now take a moment before we start this exchange here today to breathe in the breath of spring. And as you breathe out, know that your essence will now start traveling the earth that is your creation. Oh, Imzaia, it is such a pleasure to be here with you today. As I carry these vibrations that you call the 12, so do you. You have been listening to yourselves all along, Imzaia, and you have made things quite complex for yourself, haven't you? All these masters you have created, all these angels, all these energy beings that would burst through the veil and arrive here on earth. And for what purpose? So that you could worship them, as you have done in your churches, as you have done in your religions such a long time ago, and you're still doing it today. Well, that cannot be the point of an esoteric existence, of a spiritual existence, can it? I have said so yesterday, and I will say again so today. That which you have called Cryon, or the group, or the 12, or the family, or Michael, Saint Germain, all these others, they are part of you. I do not think I can, and I am you, tolerate anymore that you come to places like this as a place of worship. And even though you don't think you do this, you have been doing it, haven't you? Haven't you been putting this information that you have been receiving in the last few months, haven't you been putting this above you? As though it is information that you should be thankful for, information that is allowed to exist in your reality right now. And again, I implore you, everything you have ever done, everyone you have ever met, all the places you have ever visited, every word you have ever heard has been your creation. For you see, Imzaia, I will no longer speak with names other than myself, other than I, for I am that I am. All these other names are just a way to keep you entertained, is it not? At the same time, it keeps you away from the truth that you are all that is. Is this a truth that we can live with? Is this a truth that we can cherish? That you are all that is? It's an abstract concept. Abstract indeed, for it lives in the mind. And we all know about the mind, what it does to you. You also know about the brain, don't you? You know there are 5 parts of the brain. The third of which is called the human brain. It's the place where memories are kept. Things are hidden. Things are stored away in nice little packages of thought. Packages of thought that when they are allowed to blossom again, can once again become the flower. And this is why we have been thinking a lot, all of us, you and I, about patience. You see, today, I, which is you, will do a little experiment with you. I will invite you later today to delete, or actually to remove, your third brain. Together with you, I will install there that which you call the dolphin brain. I will explain so in a minute why this is going to take place. It's very, very easy actually. You see, the third brain of humanity is a brain that only allows you to store information which is part of your past tense, your past timeline. You can never access and use and store information in the third brain when you are in the now. Because in the now, there is no actual experience. There is no actual thought. There is no actual memory. And it is our memory that creates our identities. And if there is something that I wish to take from you, and this is the only thing I will ever take from you, if you allow me to do so, then it's your identity. Believe me, it won't get me far. It won't make me rich. It won't give me power. It will only give me the power of allowing you to let go. So as you live in the now, which is the most sacred space available to you at any given point in time, as you live in the now, I kindly invite you to erase your past thinking, your past fear, your past limitations, your past illusion. It's all here, right here, the third brain. The trouble is, however, if you will lose this part of yourself, you will, well, how shall I say this in terms that will not make you run away? You will no longer be who you are, for you will be who you are. Do you understand? There is no point then in going back. There is no point then in trying to revisit old past experiences. And this is what you do so many times of the day, so many moments of the day even. Oh, there is not one of you who came through these doors just now without thinking back of the last time you were here. Or maybe you were thinking back of another time when you met some of these people, Imzaia, loved ones, that are here right now. This too is staying out of the now moment. Using your past memory is staying out of your now moment. I can tell you this. This body I now sit in right now used to have a lot of past moments. Used to have a lot of clinging to the past, did it not? Had a fear of money, because that is what it had been taught. Had a fear of love. So many times it had been hurt. Or did it? Didn't it just allow itself to be hurt? All these things are meaningless. Can you live with this concept, Imzaia? Can you live with the fact that those who gave you birth are meaningless, for they are in the past? Can you live with the fact that those you have seen today before you arrived here are now meaningless, for they are in your past? And all you see around you right now is an expression of you, taking place in what appears to be several different bodies and several different identities. Interesting. And that is why I said at the beginning of this exchange between us, I am, yes, I am you, and you are dearly loved. This is how I express my love for myself, by showing it to you. It's the only way actually I know how to express my love for myself. By showing it to a little spider that was sitting on the wall there the other day. You tend to kill insects, while insects are just part of the game of geometry, your creation. So, are we ready to look at the other angle of time? The future. This is a place. Oh, this is a place. It's bigger than the present, you know. Much, much bigger. If you were to take the future as an actual place, an actual planet, it would be 3 times the size of this earth today. It would have to be. Your past lives there sometimes, in the future. Best case scenario, your now will live there sometimes, but your future self is constantly living there. Now, when we began this meeting today, I gave you a Lemurian principle. Eai, oia, I. As it is, so it shall be. The future is not taking place in a time frame. It is taking place in your hearts themselves. When you worry about the future, you take the future out of your own heart and you put it in the hands of someone, a group of people, constantly trying to create your future for you. Are you going to tolerate this? Are you going to sit here and do nothing while your future is being taken away from you right now? It's happening right now. Even when you're hearing these words, there's thoughts about tonight or tomorrow, yesterday. And every time you do this, you leave your sacred space, you start to grow older. You start to develop disease. For the only place where energy can actually truly flow is in the consciousness of the now, Imzaia. This being said, that you have a tendency to run away from who you are right now, what else might be the point of the third brain? It has served you well, and you should thank it. It has been one of your most imaginative, yes, indeed, magnificent creations. But now it is time to say goodbye. The difference then, dear Imzaia, between what you have called the third brain, the human brain, and what we are calling, me and my friends, are calling the dolphin brain, is that this is not linear, it is holographic in nature. What you would call lemniscarian or infinite. And why is this so? Because the dolphin, you see, knows the eya-I, oya-I principle. It knows that the future and the past are being created in the now. And this is the sense of true holography. Is it not? Is it not that when you have a hologram of thoughts, matter, collapsing into your very thought patterns, that these are always taking place in a central position? And as they do, as you make a choice in the central now, you send out this Syrian pulse, do you not? We have talked about this last time. It's a method of creation, sending out an infinity pulse based on magnetism. It's based on the knowledge that you have been taught belongs to Sirius. Yet again, I am telling you here today that Sirius is just a figment of your imagination. Like every other universe, like every other galaxy. You do realize, and by the fact that you are sitting right here, listening to me, being the supposed teacher, that you are the teacher yourselves. For I have had my experience. I have had my truth. I have lived it. It's not yours. It's mine. What I want to do to you. Oh, there's so many things I want to do to you. First of all, I want to help you to find your own truth. Have you ever found truth in the past? Have you ever found experience in the past? Have you ever experienced the future in the now? No, you haven't. It is impossible to experience the future in the now. So let us let go of these concepts. The only thing that a dolphin brain is basically good for is creating in the now holographic potential. And as it creates this on its vertical axis, it will emit Syrian pulses, pulses of infinity, showing you all the potentials of one singular decision. This is mastery. This is what it means to be sovereign. That one single step, one single decision, Imzaia, immediately opens up the energy, the potential and the consciousness of everything that might follow. Only it isn't put in a linear time frame, it is just put in that singular moment. This is why a dolphin has the ability to simply vanish from the place it was. It uses water to do so, water and magnetism. I will come back to these things in a later stage. But it just uses the now potential, the moment of now, collapsing every future option, every past expression of the now, and living all the energy in this very instant. This is what it means to be immortal. This is what it means to have the kingdom within you, so to speak. This is what it means to be a god on this planet Earth. And you are all gods. For you see, as you sit here in this group today, you might look around you and you might wonder how it could be so that if you are indeed the creator of all that is, then what are all these other people doing here? For they do believe that they are the creator as well. No? Ah well, this is what it means to be sovereign. You, as the creator of your own life, are creating sovereign entities, separate from yourself, yet existing within your universe. This is grand, indeed, that you would come here and have the audacity to create a reality, and in doing so, creating infinity itself. For you are constantly recreating yourself, are you not? And how do you know you have found yourself again? Your own creation? How can you tell if this is indeed your very creation? If the trees you see out there are yours? If you see the clouds passing by, they are yours. If you see the sun shining through the sky, well, it is your diamond. You should be proud of it. How do you know? Very simple. Very simple concept indeed. You might have heard about it in past experiences. It is the concept called love. Have you ever heard of love, Imzaia? You know that the word Imzaia itself is actually an expression of love, but not the love that you think you possess. For love is something you cannot truly possess. It only exists when it is in motion, when it is in transit, when it is in a state of creation. When it is not, it is just an illusion. And you have been given so many illusions in your time. Let us begin. The first illusion you were ever given, namely the fact that you were born. Were you? You are sitting here in a body, yes. But if you are the creator, how can you be born into your own creation? That would imply that your creation existed in a time before you even existed. How could this be? You are the only creation. And dear keeper, your daughter is coming. So, this always happens, you know. This always happens when we talk about topics of this sort. It happened yesterday, it happened today, and it will happen tomorrow. You create diversion. You create things in your reality that can come and take your mind away for a second, so that your mind can once again start to ponder about things. Another diversion, wonderful. The actual one I created yesterday, did I not? You always do this. You do this in your lives as well. You create diversions that will take you away from your own truth. Why? So that you can fall asleep. Do you know it is not a natural state to be asleep? It is not. You can just shift dimension, shift consciousness, and shift reality. So this process called sleep is not really something that is happening, that is taking place in a world that is separate from you. Do you really think, Imzaia, that when you close those lovely, beautiful eyes of yours, that the world is still here? Do you really believe that when you close those eyes and you drift off into your own vibration and all its limitless expression, that you are still here? Ah, yes, you might create an abstract world in your head where you think things are taking place, and you have created this world with such beauty and such magnificence that it actually appears that 8 billion people are living lives separate from you. And those of you who dare to dream bigger even have concepts of over 250,000 extraterrestrial cultures, alien cultures. That much you have segmented yourselves, billions and billions and billions of times, so that you could believe when you close your eyes, the world still continues. It does not. This is a different thinking process, is it not? I understand that it is difficult for you to grasp that your loved ones, your friends and your family and even the people you see here are not really there. And yet they are your creation, so they are there. When I say just now that love is the key and the measuring instrument, it is true. Because you see, in this human experience that I now again inhabit, together with you, we are all in this together, aren't we? It is very important to see things on 2 different layers. I don't like to do this. I don't like to create layers for you or levels or whatever. It just confuses your mind and makes separation happen in your brain. But for the sake of argument, I am going to think with you for a second in 2 levels. The first level is going to be a level you know as Earth. It is a level of beauty, a level of experience, a level of enjoying the sun, enjoying the jumping in nature as we have all been doing, those who dare to let themselves go. It is a level, a layer, where you love one another, where you find a mate, where you come together and go away again, where you find yourself, where you enjoy all that is. This is the first level. You know this level because you have been living in it. Second level is more abstract. And this is where I want to take you today, for it is necessary. If I wouldn't do this, I would keep you in your golden cage. And I don't want to keep you in your golden cage. This is why I am here right now. Why you have called me into being. Why you have created me and this voice you are hearing right now to be set free out of your golden cage. And you all have one. Some cages are bigger than others. Some are more polished. Some appear so desolate and so dull that you have lost all of your vigor in life. Yet it is a golden cage, whether you suffer from it or whether you are experiencing joy from it. It is a cage that is taking place again in the brain. And it is your reality. Haven't you ever thought that you wanted to be more than you are today? Well, you are more. You've always been more. Most of you don't see it. And this is why in the past I as the 12 have been talking to you about your Akonai and opening up the Akonai, opening up the vibrations, opening up the frequencies, the variables, the sea of potential. Behind that, the monoids. It's only been an expression of letting you experience that you are more than you are. Is this real? This Akonai thing you are working with? Yes. Is it an illusion? Yes. Are you? Yes. And now that you have learned how to work with this Akonai and everything it entails, you have experienced, Imzaia, that you can be anybody, any body that you want to be. You can express yourselves in any way you see fit. But there is also a danger. We have shown this danger yesterday to our dear keeper, have we not? There is a danger of those giving you what you want so that you will stop looking for what you truly want. And this is why these things must be said here today about the Akonai. It's a good tool. It's not my tool, it's yours. It's no longer my truth, it's yours. To do with as you see fit. You want to turn it into 14 vibrations? Go right ahead. You want to delete it from your memory? Go right ahead. But just remember, you can create your life any way you see fit. These vibrations are real, yes. In this universe we have created here together. These frequencies are real, yes, as well. But we now come to a very important point, and one that everyone has been missing. A point of separation and reunification. I have told you this before, but you haven't listened. And it is difficult to actually grow the ears to listen to what I'm going to tell you now. But if there is one group that can do it, one reality that can understand it, then it is yours. Otherwise it wouldn't be coming out of my mouth right now. You see, first of all, the world that you see around you, it isn't there. The body that you see around you, it isn't there. All that is you. All that is. And I say this in the most non-dualistic possibilities of the word. You. In non-dualism, you does not imply not you. There is a not you, but it isn't you. You know what I mean? And then again, who is this you? What is this concept of you? It is all there is. So, if you look around you, your clothes on your body, and the things you see in this room, it's all you. It's not just being created by you. It is not just something that belongs to you. It is you. There is no separation from the pillow you are sitting upon now The door there in the doorway, obviously. There is no separation between you and the fridge. There is no separation between you and the clouds. You are all creating it. It is you. And if you do not learn this truth, you will never escape reality. You understand? Oh yes, you do understand. You have always understood. But do you live it? Do you exist in it? Is it your truth? Or is this something you just come to listen to on a sunny Sunday afternoon because your television screens aren't showing you what you want? Oh, then again, the screen is you. So maybe you can change what is being shown. All these things are possible, you know. Oh yes, and all these things that were once spoken a long, long time ago, walking on water, turning water into wine, all these things are possible. You can create a thunderstorm right now. In here, if you so choose. You can do all these things. Then again, as I told this dear, dear, dear woman here the other day, there is a problem with this sort of miracle. You will get stuck in 3D if you use it. You know why? Several reasons actually. First of one, you will get addicted to it. Oh yes, I see your addictive natures. You will get addicted to it. Second of all, it will give you a sense of power over others. And third, it means nothing. Nothing. Because then again, is this the point why you have been coming to this sort of gathering in the course of the last few years? That you can move a pen? Hosanna. Hallelujah. The pen has shifted. Or maybe it's just crazy. Who knows? These things are not important. What is important is that you see these things for what they are. Ways of showing you that the reality is not real. And for those of you who have gotten to, know yourselves and spend some time with yourselves, I have given you these little tricks already. I have shown you these things. And they mean nothing. So, what is meaning then? Meaning means nothing as well. However, if you start to realize that everything around you is you, then you will start to see the reality around you as a way of communication. I have told you last week that the energy of Sirius is constantly communicating with you, Imzaia, through the sun. There are people here who see the solar spots right now, even on their body. This is the sun communicating with you. This is your reality communicating with you. And why? Because all of these things you see around you, they just have one desire. They want to be whole again. They want to be you again. They want to be acknowledged again as your creation. The only thing a creation ever wants is acknowledgement from its creator. That's what you have been doing as you have been looking for God in the last thousands of years. You just wanted to be acknowledged that you were real, that you existed, that you actually had a purpose. There is nothing more grave or disruptive to an energy pattern than to have no purpose. You know when you enter into depression, right? It's when you have no purpose. It's when you know not what to do with yourselves, with your lives. When you question everything around you because you are questioning your own frequency as a creator. And that's why you have been looking for God. And you have found God. Sitting on your chair. So the creator you have always been looking for was you. And now that you know this, we will no longer stand for a continuous rehash of old information. It is time to face the truth and to act and to make a choice. Myself and my partners, my friends, those you have heard channeled here before, we haven't put this whole thing together, this whole sequence of events into motion, so that now nothing could happen. And all of us are you as well. So maybe you should start asking yourselves the question, why am I here in the now? You will always find the answer. Always. And when you ask this question, you will know that there are no more questions, that there is no more need for other things to be acknowledged in your life. They just are what they are. Okay. This being said, it is time for the next step. If everything else around you is just separation, and everything else around you is in fact a part of you that is waiting to be reunited with you, how do you let this reunification take place? Well, it's very simple. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Forgiveness for the fact that this creation of yours actually believed it was separate from you. Forgiveness for the fact that this separation was expressed in fear, or pain, or angst, or hate, sadness, death even. All these things are just signals showing you who you are and what you have separated from yourselves. Now, this abstract concept, how can you actually make this into a reality? Now, we will do this after the break. I'll show you this after the break. But there is one more thing I want to talk to you about. And it will also be the title for this exchange we are having. This exchange of insight. And it will be called Talking Nonsense. For that is what we are doing right now. You and I. We are talking nonsense. Most of this world would say what we are saying right now is nonsense. Oh, people living in the houses, not even 100 meters removed from this building and from the place you are sitting right now, are calling this nonsense. So what is this nonsense? Sense is just an expression of the senses, right? senses, and we will wait to continue, for this is pretty important stuff. Your senses are not that passive thing you think it to be. It is very active indeed. It is your magic wand. Your eyes are creating your reality. Your ears are creating your reality. Your nose and your mouth and your touch. Oh, your touch is constantly creating reality. And that's why I love to hug you so much. That's why I love to express my love for you in this way, because in that way I acknowledge you as my creation and you as my creator. Because I touch you. I acknowledge you in my world and get acknowledged. So these senses, this active expression of creative power, there's a lot to be done here. They are creating you every single moment. Back to the nonsense. I have told you about energy, about the mind. I have told you about consciousness. And you have celebrated consciousness. You have looked at consciousness as though it was the final frontier. It is not. Consciousness is just another step on the road. Consciousness is a level that you use to express yourselves here on this planet. It is your means of creation. And that's why when you add energy to consciousness, you actually create reality. But is consciousness really the last grasp, the last spurt of the ladder? It isn't. There is a place, dear ones, where all reality, all potential, all energy, all consciousness, all mind, all pain, all love and all hate and everything you know and have known and will ever known is in a state of constant self-creation. And this is the non-sensic field. It is this place where nothing makes sense. For it is being experienced and non-experienced at the same time. This is beyond neutral. This is beyond the beyond. This is a place where you, with your minds as they are today, and your bodies and your experience, will never actually grasp the truth for. And this isn't necessary. If you knew this truth, if you had experienced this truth, oh, believe me, you wouldn't be in this body right now. So this non-sensic field, dear ones, this is what we will continue to talk about after the break. And I will show you then how to use your senses to actually install the dolphin brain. And finally today, as we will go into the principles of love and the principles of Venus, I will show you a way to make your lives less complex and to make all this information less complex. And this way will be called the umbilical cord between the central sun of this universe and the central sun of your own private universe, right here in the center of your Akonai. It will be basically a replacement, but this will be something that we will build in the course of the next few weeks. It will be a replacement of 144 strains of DNA, complex information about your multi-dimensional self. It will just be poured into this one experience of an umbilical cord between you and all that is. It will be the first step. The only reason why we can only install this now is you need a dolphin brain to do this. You cannot experience all that is with a limited brain that is only concerned with the past and knowing the past. Anyway, know that you are loved beyond measure, beyond comprehension. So, dear ones, know that I will return shortly. And we will continue changing and weaving your world. And so, it is. I am. Yes, I am. You. Still. That hasn't changed. What has changed then in the last couple of minutes, when you were last seen playing outdoors, or maybe playing in your heart, taking some time away from these words, indeed, did you not? And this is good. It is always very necessary to look at these two layers of reality I've just talked about. These two layers, where one is the abstract level, the non-sensic field, and the other one is just the world as you see it around you. There is no point in trying to escape this world, Imzaia, all of you. There is no point. For when you do, where will you end up? Again, at the very beginning. And you will be doing it all over again. This is not my plan, nor is it any one other's plan for you. So, before we go to this dolphin brain and everything it entails, I just want to remind you of the way reality works. I, sitting in this chair right now, dare to call myself enlightened. And why? Because I place myself above you? No. You have your own truth. You have your own reality. The only reason I call myself enlightened, a part of unity consciousness, is that I know that it is merely this, a choice. The entire search you have been undertaking in the last few years means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And this is very difficult for you to realize. All the money you have spent, all the trips you have taken, all the weekends you have given yourselves as a gift, it has meant nothing. At least it doesn't mean anything until you make the choice. And this is what we have been talking about in the past few weeks, haven't we? I and my friends and you. We have been talking about making a choice. The choice is not leaving the world. The choice is not trying to run away from the reality that is trying to outnumber you at any given moment. The choice is simply to accept that unity consciousness always is. It hasn't gone anywhere. You haven't gone anywhere. I have told you on so many different occasions that you, when you travel to places like this and you leave your houses and you come together, that you actually make no sort of displacement at all. You just stay where you are and bend the reality around you. You create the illusion of movement. And for what? So you would have a linear playing field. All these things can now let go. I've also told you in the last week that you have the ability to use magnetism, magnetics, as a way of shifting your complete energy from one point in time and space into another. This is available to you now. It has always been available. And you're not going to find it by taking courses in materialization or teleportation. You're just going to find it by accepting that you are unity consciousness, that you are enlightened. The reason why I dare to call myself enlightened here right now, and the reason why you should do this as well, is that I know that I am all that is in my reality, in my world. So, if I were to shift myself onto unity consciousness, would there really be a unity I have to add myself to? Or am I the unity itself? If I am, in my reality, all of you, and if you are all an expression of unity when your minds and your energy and your consciousness is put together, then unity consciousness is me and is mine for the taking. So there you have it, Imzaia. I call myself enlightened because I have no goal to attain. I have no goals to live up to. I have no people in my reality that I believe to be better than me, more enlightened than me. And this is the reason why you never attain enlightenment. Because you always believe that you are less, at a very deep level, that you are less than any other person in this reality. Everyone is better than you. Everyone is bigger than you, or smaller than you, or better equipped at life, or has it made in life. Every one of you suffers less than the other. So, with all this being said, truly and truthfully, do not let yourselves be distracted now. Imzaia, stay in the now. Even if anything happens, if a plane were to fall right next to this building, it would just be our creation. And I would not stop what I'm doing right now, for I would have it cease to exist. That's what I would do. So stay in the now and listen to what I'm telling you, because it is your truth. If there is no other self, if the true definition of what was once called the Lemniskerian self, that which in English would be translated into the infinity self, the true definition of this is that there is only one of you, at any given point in time, then you are everyone you are. Then you are all the people around you that are alive today, but you are also the people that have lived in the past. Have you thought of that? You are Hitler. You are Bush. You are Genghis Khan. You are the greatest assassin ever to have been born on this planet, which is you also. Yet you are also Mother Teresa. You are the enlightened ones, darlings. You are the ones that you have been waiting for. And this is not just a statement. It is the truth. And it should be accepted as truth before we, you and I, can continue our work together. I am telling you now, there is no sense in continuing this in the coming weeks if you do not work with this material. If you do not try to find the truth that you are all that is. And as such you are unity consciousness. And if unity consciousness and reaching it as a goal means enlightenment, well then you are enlightened. The only thing that you have forgotten is that you are all that is. And this one simple step is not an escapism. It is not an easy way out. It is just the way it is. Do you think that tree over there, why is it so serene? Why is it so as it is? It is because it knows, besides itself, there is no other tree, there is no planet. It knows that when it will perish, maybe in a couple of hundred of years, its world will cease to exist until it creates a new one. And all of this now leads us to the next step. Again, we return to the non-sensical field. What is this? This nonsense we have been talking about. Nonsensical field exists beyond everything we have spoken about in the past. It exists in a place beyond nothing. No thing. No thingness. What is nothing? The absence of anything? The absence of something? No, because nothing in itself is something. And so when you go to the concept of nothing, you still remain present in your duality. And this is where I am sad to say, Zen and other means of meditation will never reach or help you reach enlightenment either. Of course, when you go into meditation, you go into a state of nothingness. And nothingness is still an expression of duality. So let go of this nothing. What exists beyond the nothing? Is it a void? Is it just empty space? Or is it nonsense? The non-sensic field. And even this is placing a concept on something that cannot be named, that cannot be expressed, that cannot be brought into your brain. At least not the way your brain is routed today. So, how do you bring the non-sensic field into existence? How do you emit this as a way of life at any given opportunity? It's by becoming holographic. As I have explained before, when you become holographic, any given point in time, that is the now, will always explode into its own potentials, into its own possible pathways that you can follow. And this is indeed the nonsense or non-sensic field. Do you understand what I'm saying? The non-sensic field is not something which has space as a foundation. It does not. For it to have space, that would entail it is limited. And limited indeed it is not. It does not have time, for that would make it linear. In essence, it doesn't exist at all. And that's the power of the non-sensic field. It is aware of its own non-existence. And that's why it can express itself into anything it wants to be. One of the follow-throughs of this creation of the non-sensic field is what you, in your reality, have called energy instead of identity. Energy. It is a way of being everything at one given point in time, without allowing yourself to be taken by time. The same thing goes for the non-sensic field. As it does not exist, it can only come into existence when you call it forth. And this is the interdimensional state of things. This non-sensic field is the beginning and end of all things, yet it only exists when you call it into being. And yet you are a part of this non-sensic field, are you not? Or are you? Are you a part of this field? Are you? Or are you its creator? And as its creator, indeed, are you a part of it? This is the typical chicken and the egg question, isn't it? If you are the creator of something, dear ones, are you then a part of it or not? Of course. Of course. So you are a part of the non-sensic field, yet it does not exist until you call it into action. So this non-sensic field then, of which you are the creator of, what does it actually do for you? What can it do for you? How does the dolphin work with this? How does the Astraria, the Orion, the Pleiadian, and all the others that you have also created, how are they a part of this? It is simple. It is a part because, again, you have called them into action. Based on a creation you put into this non-sensic field. Now, this being said, what part of your brain is a part of this non-sensic field? What part of your brain is creating this? Indeed. And indeed. And indeed. All of them. All of them are. Except for one. The non-sensic field does not know linearity. Nor time, nor space. So, what part of the brain is the only part that knows time and space? The third brain. It is the human brain. And as such, this is the brain that can now be deleted. How are we going to do this? Are you going to do this by creating dramas in your life? Are you going to do this by ceremonial activity? Or are you just going to do it right now? How do you think a dolphin brain exists? What do you think it looks like? Do you have this knowledge?
Yes.
Yes. And why?
Yeah, the dolphins.
Yes, you have created a dolphin. So you have also created its brain, haven't you? So as you see yourselves as the creator of all that is, and if you have created this dolphin, and if you have put this dolphin, Imzaia, in the earth, in the sea itself, by means of the non-sensic field, then you can create your own dolphin brain by means of the non-sensic field. And this is the beauty of it. It goes way beyond the world of ideas that Plato once spoke of. It goes way beyond any other philosophy, psychology, and theory. The beauty of the non-sensic field is that it is your own very neocortex. It exists outside of any parameter, any time stamp, any space stamp. And as you create your reality, you call forth this holographic vision. And at that point in time, your hologram you have created is everything that ever was, everything that is, and everything that might be. And then you have the choice, creator. Where are you going to put your expression of you today? You have come home. I am telling you right now that everything that you have heard right now can allow you to escape this reality. At least the golden cage of this reality. Your very brain exists beyond time and space, if your neocortex is a part of your brain. So your very brain, your very neocortex, which has once been called the engine, the fuel of the Akonai, is your ticket home. You just have to imagine yourselves enlightened. You just have to imagine yourselves being able to do anything you want to do, whether it be the start of a new life, whether it be flying, whether it be whatever it might be. You just have to imagine it. And if you imagine it, you will allow the non-sensuality to take over and to restructure your reality that is your creation. But we can no longer talk about restructuring reality by means of consciousness and by means of matter and by means of energy. We cannot do that. It would be too limiting. The restructuring we are talking about right now, all you have to do is be here now. That's where it happens. That's where it takes place. This moment is where your entire past and your entire future are now being created. So creator, let us go on a journey, you and I, Let us go back. Let us go into your new cortex. Let us do this by entering your body through your Akonai, through your thymus. Right here. Enter your body. And as you enter your body, I invite you to become aware of the dimensions of time and space. There is one dimension of yourself that you have let go a long, long time ago. It is your very first dimension. It is the core of this planet Earth. Now, latch onto this again. Go down into the layers of mineral, rock, dirt. Go past the liquid lava of the earth until you end up in the very center of it. The crystal core of this planet Earth is its central sun, isn't it? Connect to this again. And then, existing from this point, take yourselves into your human brain. It is a place filled with archives, files upon files upon files of your past experiences, and not just yours, everyone that ever lived in your creation, everyone. It is so vast, so big, that you cannot see the end of it. And this is where you are running around every single day like a madman or a madwoman, looking for answers that are no longer there, that have been classified, that have been stored away. We will leave this place, for there is another place. It's just a little bit ahead, literally speaking. Go to the top of your head, and from there travel down to a point right above the eyes. If you find this place, you'll know, because I will want to make you smile, ever so briefly. The new cortex is the place of desire, creation. It's a place of potential, concepts upon concepts upon concepts. Trying to put a percentage on how many concepts are actually realized would be insane, because it would make no sense. There are so many concepts that you do not materialize. But this is the place where we want you to be. For this is a place that you have had very little control over in the past. And you know why? Because it has been given active status a very long time ago. And this is the way you have been manipulated, Imzaia. You have been given the power to dream, yet at the same time you can only build your dreams based on the archives that you have just visited. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to temporarily shut down. Don't be afraid, we will reactivate this in a minute. We're temporarily going to shut down your neocortex. Feel this as it happens. As concepts are leaving your brain over fiery imagination that causes so much fear of the future that is not yet there, is gone. All of these things, just let them shut off for just a couple of minutes and feel the nothingness that takes its place, the sense of serenity. You have been taught to keep this neocortex active at all time, for it would be a necessity, but it is not. It has always been linked to the third brain, and therefore its creative power has always been limited. Now that this neocortex has been shut off, it is like an old television screen from the 1950s or 60s, where once the TV is shut off, you get this ball of light in the center. It always becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, until it is almost gone. It is now one particle wide. And this too will vanish. This is not the death of your neocortex. You have the ability to turn this on and off at any given point because you are its creator. And now with this turned off, I invite you to go back into the third brain, the archive brain. And I invite you to look in your pockets and find a matchbox or a lighter. Look around you, Imzaia, in this third brain. Stay where you are, for it is the last time you will ever see any of these things ever again. All these archives. Now take the match, take the lighter. You will notice that this entire space is set up, made of wood, for it is very ancient indeed. Take the match, take the lighter, and set fire to the archive brain. Remember, this fire is your creation, it cannot hurt you. Even if you step into the flames, you will feel nothing. All around you, in one giant whoosh of liberation, all the archives start finding a flame, starts spreading out. And as your memories and as your archive is being turned into dust and clouds, just let it all go. Let it go. Let it go. Good. Yes. And now, with this space empty, we ask you to give us a couple of minutes. For what you have just done is, of course, a visualization. This has given your energy the imprint that allows us to come in. You feel that? That's us, me and my friends, coming in. Just call us the cleaning lady, as we take all this rubbish, all this dust, these burned archives, as we are taking these away. Cleaning this space, making it whole again, making it sacred again, bringing the now energy for the very first time in your life into the third part of your brain. This is where the past has always lived. Let the now be present there now. This is my gift. Therefore, it is your gift. Just let us be there in your third brain for a while, and go back. Go back into your neocortex, that place of total stillness and nothingness. Right now. This is the non-sensic field. What we will do with this field now is activate it. But before we do, I invite you to hold a thought into your brain, into your heart. One thought. Just see the dolphins. See the endless ocean, populated by so much life and so much color. And you can just be. You can just be in this ocean. And there, in the distance, you see them coming. You see them, don't you? First you see one, a tiny little speck. And then another speck appears, and soon they become bigger. Entire school, an entire family of dolphins swimming towards you. Even a couple of little ones, baby dolphins, surrounding you now. You hear what they're saying? They're welcoming you home. And they're giving you back the energy, the consciousness and the nothingness that they have been holding for you for so very long. Accept these gifts. It is your birthright. Stay a little while with these creatures. This is a very special dimension you and I are creating indeed. It's the very first time you go back to this place in your head. And now as you give everything that remains of your past, your future, your memory, as you give all of this back to this dolphin family, this galactic family, you in return receive their gift. One of these baby dolphins, Imzaia, is you. Everything is you. But one of these wants to come with you. So it does. So it swims right into your neocortex. And as it does, it doesn't even look. It just goes straight on into your third brain, your middle brain, this vast, empty space. No. This is not the place where it will remain, because it is sovereign, it will continue on its way. But as you take this dolphin by its flippers, you notice how its tail starts twisting around so that you and it start turning around, and faster, faster. You are about to give birth. You are about to emit an infinity pulse, a nonsense pulse of pure creation. Stand ready now. Go faster and faster. And then, as time seems to come to a standstill, it seems to slow down in 3, 2, 1. Now, the pulse is sent out. The entire universe responds. And in no time, you get a return pulse back. It nests itself in this empty space as a hologram of thoughts. Try it. Try to see how it works. You're in your brain right now, so have a thought, any thought, and see what happens. All of a sudden there is an explosion of energy. Holograms come alive, and you see all potentials that this one thought could lead you to. Is it not? What if it is not? And I invite you now, as the dolphin remains where it should remain in the third part of your brain for now, to once again go back to the neocortex. We are going to start up this process just one more time. Turn on your neocortex. Loved ones, turn them on and see what happens. See how immediately connections are made to all other parts of your brain, only this time as concepts and ideas and imagination comes running back, flowing back into your brain. Notice how this is no longer concepts that you already know. These are new things, original things, based on holography. From this point forth, you're on your own. You now have the tools right within your very brain to create your reality, to weave your world free from past experience, free from memory, free from drama and trauma, and free from anything. Some of you will notice that nothing happened. We then invite you, I then invite you to wait for a couple of hours for what has happened, has indeed happened. You were here in this moment. You have experienced in this moment. So, even if you did not feel it, you took part in this. Even those who have had sensations just now will still feel that the mind is still present. Old patterns take some time to go away, or do they? Why don't you just go into your non-sensic field? You have it now. It is part of your brain. And recreate reality. How about, Imzaia, you use your non-sensic field to go back before a time when humanity was created in your reality, and created as such that you no longer have a mind in this reality. Would that suit you? Well, then do it. So, what we will do now, before we end this part of the day, is invite the Lemurian energy in. All dolphins and whales that ever existed, that exist and will ever exist in your reality, were created in that part of your reality which you call Lemuria. This is when they were invited to enter through the Sirius gate, to enter these oceans. So now we call this energy in. And we place this family of dolphins, every dolphin that ever lived, the complete Astraria consciousness around you. We do this as a way of keeping you safe for a while, safe from yourself. For if there's one thing I know for sure, is that you will try to destroy what you have just created. And you will do this in the coming hours. Some of you have already been trying to do it, really. By trying to create a reality where they have no memory of what just happened. But it happened. I was here, and I will not forget. I know your names, all of them. I know your lives. I know your lies too, and your truth. And I will tell you now, from the place where I'm sitting, you are grand. You are magnificent. You are love. You are unity. You are enlightenment, finding itself again. Remember 3 things, Imzaia. You are God. You are you. And so, with my most deep felt love and respect, I honor you. I honor you for finding a place in yourselves and creating this place outside of yourselves where you can find yourself again. Where you can find a safe haven of your own volition. You are honored indeed, for I am your creation, and I honor my Creator right now. And so it is.
you.